Okay, so today I was out shooting in just in the suburbs around my area. I came across a group of kids. Took a photo of one kid who then got a bit indignant and started, pushing and well, not pushing me, but started swearing and cursing and yeah, got a real attitude. So I probably overly antagonized him and took a whole stack of extra shots, just ready to push his buttons. From there, he threatened to then threatened to be a bit violent. I had my 2 week old son in a sling under my arm, and I had my 5D in my hand, and I sort of told him, look, I'm allowed to take these photos, but I'll delete them. And he walked away quite indignant and swearing and cursing, and we left. So then from there, he tracked us down to a park, which is a couple of 100 meters away, and came over. Was actually starting to photograph me with his phone, and wanted to told me he was going to get his father to come and deal with me, and he was going to smash my camera and all this sort of stuff. This kid's 14, so I'm not scared. It's not a big problem. But this kid's a product of his environment. And what I did is I spent 5 minutes with the kid. I told him that there was one photo I took of him that, in my opinion, was one of the best photos I'd taken. It was a photo of him giving me the finger, but in such a way that it really illustrated how this kid represents what the world or what his upbringing has made him to be. So I agreed to show him the photos, and I'll delete whatever ones he wanted. And as his anger started increasing, I started decreasing mine. And I showed him the photo, and I zoomed in, and I explained to him that I photograph beautiful things, unique things that catch my eye. And I showed him some of the other shots I've done. And there were some shots of a dog that he knew that his thing looks like it's a Great Dane crossed with a pony. It's a massive dog, and he knew the dog. There's another photo of a guy who's walking around in our area who's got these feathers in his cap, and he looks almost homeless, but it's that really weird eccentric. And he knows the guy, and I told him this guy's a special guy. And so I only take photos of great things, of beautiful things. And it clicked with him. I took a photo of him. I thought that he was special. That's probably something this kid hasn't ever felt. Instantly he changed. His voice went softer. He looked at the photo. It was just on the 3-inch, on the back of the 5D. I could see him ticking. He looked at me. He looked at the photo. He looked at me. He looked at the photo. And I thought he was going to cry. And he put his head down. He came up, and very softly, with a smile on his face, where he finally got what the photo was about. He said, no worries, man. Thanks. That's really cool. I'm really sorry for how I acted. And he shook my hand. Previously, when he'd been abusing me, threatening to go and get his father and take photos of me, I said to him, you don't have to do that, man. Here's a business card. It's got my name, it's got my phone number on it. Tell him to call me. I've done nothing wrong. I'm happy to talk to him. So as he left with his business card in his hand and this picture in his mind, I called out to him. And he looked back at me and goes, yeah. I said, anytime you've got a problem, you've got my number now. Call me. And he looked at me. He put his head down. He said, oh, thanks. And so it started with a photo, and 6 minutes later, this kid who wanted violence and anger and hate and to attack is suddenly my friend because of a photo. So I'm going to get that photo printed up. I'll probably a 6x9. I'll crop it down. I'll make him the subject. And I'm going to print it up. I'm going to put it in a $5 black frame. And I know the area this kid lives, and I'm going to start walking there each day until I find him. And I'm going to give him the photo. And I'm going to remind him of how special I thought he was. Because I think just taking the photo isn't enough. I think we need to act on it. And I think if we believe people are good enough to take photos of them, we can't just stop our investment there. And maybe this is the pastor in me coming out, but it was 6 minutes. 6 minutes in a situation that a lot of people would rather call the police and walk away from. But it was 6 minutes. 6 minutes and a photo, and this kid's whole demeanour changed towards me. Yeah. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep taking great shots. And remember, it's not just the photo. We're impacting, we're getting involved in people's lives. And I think it's a responsibility we need to make sure we don't forget. Peace.